Hello and good. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Um, Hello and good afternoon. My name is Martin Cowart, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Prayer Power Hour, where we've been coming together every day at noon on Facebook Live to create this sanctuary, a haven, a refuge from all the drama in the world right now, to love and support each other through these challenging times. And I want to ask you, do you have the courage to be an optimist? It takes courage. It takes courage to be an optimist. It takes courage to face our fears. I want to bring to light a comment one of my dear friends said to me this morning. He said, I am guardedly optimistic about Joe Biden winning the presidency. And I thought to myself, why guardedly? What are you guarding? What are you protecting? Why don't you just simply say, I'm really excited about the possibility of Joe Biden becoming president and why you're excited? That's important. It's a much more powerful statement for creating and manifesting a powerful outcome. And as co creators in the world we live in today, it's important what we say and how we say it and what we expect to come back and what we proclaim. And we all do this. So I'm not picking on my friend. I love the guy. He's a beautiful, beautiful, loving man. And I just love him. This is not about him. We all do this. It is a favorite tool of our ego. Let me just go over here to comments. If you're joining me, by the way, please, please, please comment in the comment section and just let me know you're here. And all your comments are welcome. Again, we do this as a collective movement, if you will. We do this in collaboration. I just share with you some thoughts that I have about something that's coming up for me right now during this time, during today, and for conversation. It's not that I'm right or wrong. This is just my views on something that's coming up for me right now. So the offer is to, one, consider what I'm saying, and two, add your comments. I want to hear what you have to say about these things as well. It's even more important because when you put comments into the chat box, we get to talk more fully about them and explore more deeply. So I'll go back to the story I had about my friend saying to me he was guardedly optimistic. And I thought, wow, we all do that. That is, that is a very common tool for the ego to guard its and protect its need to always be right. You see, the ego cannot fail. It is way beyond the idea of failing. Because if it fails, if it's wrong, then it's not what it is. It is driven by fear. It is driven by the fear of failure. It is driven by the fear of rejection. So when we add that qualifier, guarded optimism, what we're really saying to the universe is, I'm not really sure, and I'm a little bit afraid to really put what I want out there because I might not get it. So I'm going to keep myself protected. I'm going to stay back a little bit, and I'm just going to put out a little bit about what I want to happen with a little qualifier here to keep me safe. Because if I don't get what I want, I'll at least get to be right. So I'm going to consider, have the courage to just state what you want. And more importantly, tell us why you want it. Because the why is the passion. Why we want something. If it's a personal sort of narcissistic, and this guy was not coming from a personal place, that's why I'm saying this. I know it's coming from a bigger want of something better for the world, because I know him very well. It's a good friend of mine. So I'm saying, why not say I'm excited about it, and this is why, because I want to heal the country. I want a leader who I can trust. Whatever the reason being. Because when we add that why to it, and we can notice that the why is beyond my own ego's need to get its needs met, it's actually for the betterment of others, then it's coming from the heart and it has to come true. Now, it probably won't come true from the perspective of the way you might imagine it, because remember, your ego is imagining that from a different place. But if you say, I want this to happen, and this is why, because I want to create healing, I want to create more love, I want to create more prosperity, I want something better for the world than what we currently have, then it's going to happen. That's the universal law of attraction, because it's not coming from your ego, it's coming from your heart. So my encouragement is to have the courage to face your fears, the fear of being wrong. Um, I made a prediction, and I still do have the prediction, and I still like to talk into the future. Hey, there's my good friend Scott Mason. Hey, Scott, glad you joined us today. I'm so glad you're here. And there's my dear friend Audrey Smaltz. Only for a little while. Well, stay as long as you can. It's always a joy to have you. And we're talking about the courage to really own your optimism, to own your truth, speak truth to power, and say why you want it. And I'm going to give you the two statements. Let's just say, if I say, I'm guardedly optimistic about Trump becoming the president, okay. But if instead I said, and there's the difference in the feeling, I am really excited about the possibility of Joe Biden become our president, because I believe he's the kind of man that will lead us into uniting this country and healing the wounds and guiding us out of this darkness. He's the kind of leader we need right now to guide us, to heal us, and guide us out of this world. Now, what you have set up is an opportunity for success. You've made a very optimistic statement, explanation for the betterment of the world. It comes from your heart, and it has to come true. That's the universal law of attraction. That's what the universal law of attraction is. It's not, I want to think positive thoughts and I want to manifest a Mercedes in my driveway. That's a very narcissistic need. But if I said, I want to create more prosperity in the world for myself and others, because I want to live in a world of prosperity. And I'm excited about Joe Biden becoming our next leader, because I think he believes in prosperity for all. And we're going to be able to get economic structures and social structures in place that are going to be for the betterment of, and they're going to help unite the country. You see the difference in that conversation? There's no fear in that conversation. It's just this is what I want, and I'm not afraid to ask for it, and this is why I want it. We are co-creators. It is our nature. When we come from love, unconditional, we are creating the future. Own that power. Own that power. Because our words matter and our proclamations matter. We have the power to change this world, and we're doing it. So our words matter and our proclamations matter, and optimists are winners. We're not afraid of failing. We will fail all the time, because we know that the failure is a failure probably of my ego. There's an wonderful old mystical statement that says, when my ego weeps for what it has lost, my soul rejoices in what it has found. And that's what I'm experiencing right now, because what I'm seeing while I'm watching television right now at these last moments, and clearly I want Joe Biden to win, and I predict that he does win, and I'm going to live into that prediction, because I want a leader who's going to do the things that I think are going to be good for me in this country. not just for me, but for everybody. And I like what he has to say, and I'm not afraid. And if he doesn't win, okay, I'm wrong, but something better will happen that's beyond my own ego mind. Does that make sense? Yeah. We have the power to change the world, and we're doing it with powerful, optimistic, forward-thinking thoughts and beliefs. And then when we think something, we speak it, and it becomes true if it comes from the heart. It could also come true if it comes from fear, too. I mean, we've certainly created a very toxic environment by projecting all of our fears in the world and making them come true. You know? So what we say and how we say it matters a lot. So have the courage to really put your name out there. Be an optimist. Tell the world what you want and why you want it. And just notice, is it just for you or is it something bigger than you? Because I can promise you, if it's for the betterment of the world, it's coming from your heart. And it will come true. It will happen. It may not happen when you expect it to happen or how you expect it to happen, but it is a universal law that positive energy in the world, energy only comes in two flavors, negative and positive. We have a choice. What we're going to put out there every day. We're going to put out positive energy or we're going to put out negative energy. I'm going to put out positive energy. I'm also aware that I put out negative energy and I can catch myself when I'm doing it and self-correct. Because we all do it. I mean, I can't, I mean, I woke up yesterday, Wednesday morning, angrier than a hornet's nest about what was going on. You know, how could, I mean, I didn't wake up to the excitement of a blue wave, that's for sure. And the fact that we're still counting votes is a little bit angering. But what I can do is I can't get pulled into that drama. And I can say, well, what is it I really want? I want Joe Biden to win. Because I want a leader who's going to lead us out of this darkness and heal this country. That's what I want. And I'm expecting to get it. And furthermore, I'm expecting for us to take the Senate. It's still not over yet. It ain't over till it's over. And the reason why I want the Democrats to take over the Senate is because I want people leading us who care about us, who care about our needs, who care about our rights, who include everyone, not just the richest people in the world. That's why I want them to win, and they're going to win. And that's what I'm putting out there for today. I'm putting out, these are the things that I want to have happen, and this is why I want them to happen, and I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. And it takes courage. People are not going to agree with me. There are people, and I'm going to say this for the people who are supporting Trump. If that's who you support, put out, I support Trump, and this is why I am supporting him, because I believe he is going to do whatever you believe he's going to do for the betterment of others. And if you can do that, I can respect you. There you know, I'm going to respect you. I may disagree with you, but if you can tell me why you support somebody and you fully support them and you want them to win, and you can tell me why you support them for the betterment of somebody else than yourself, I give you, you got power. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. What will happen if Trump wins the election again? What will be the effect on the whole world? Well, we may, I don't know. We'll have to find out and see. That's a good question. I know what we've been through. I know we've been through a pretty difficult time as a president of our country. We got 231,000 people dead because he didn't have the courage to tell us the truth about this deadly virus. I know that more people are dying every day because he's not honest with us. So I think that if he wins the election, we're going to continue to have all the destruction and the turmoil we've currently have. I don't know what would be different. I think we know exactly what would happen if he wins the election. We'll just have more of what we've got. And that's why I want Joe Biden to win, because I don't want more of what we got. I want love and unity and healing. No more divisive, hate-filled, destructive conversations, basically. That's the best I can do on that. But the truth is, I don't know. It's like, it's like, ask me about COVID-19. What's going to happen to the world with COVID-19? We don't get a vaccine for a year. I don't know. I don't know. But I can be optimistic and say that I hope we get a vaccine soon. I hope we find a way to cure this sooner than later. So we can, and why? Because I want to end the death and destruction that we've got that's coming from it. So that's my prayer, and that's my proclamation that we're going to find a vaccine, and we're going to find a way to have COVID-19 and this pandemic in the rearview mirror. When, how, and where, I don't know, and what we're going to learn from it, I don't know. But we have to keep an open mind and an open heart, and really understand some basic principle that the universe, God, the creator, everything is perfect exactly as it is. Everything is happening exactly as it is. Love is reality, is accepting reality as it is. End of story. Anything else is fear and resistance. That's what I mean about the two energies. There's the energy of love and acceptance for the world exactly as it is, with all its warts and the things we don't like. Or we can go into fear and create stories of the future that make us feel bad. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Um, so I don't know what's going to happen if he stays as president. I have no idea. It's not what I want. It's not my preference. I imagine imagination, and I don't mind saying it. I'm going to say I'm excited about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris becoming our next president and vice president. And the why I want them to become our next president, because I believe they're going to be the leaders the world needs to guide us out of this darkness and unite this country and heal us. And I am 100% excited about that. And we're going to get it. We may not get it the way I think it's going to happen. We're going to get it. We're going to heal this country. We're going to move our world into a more loving, more compassionate place, because that's who we are as human beings. We are unconditional love. We are prosperity. We are abundance. And when we come from that place, when we deliver from that place, that's the world we're going to get. Hey, Mindy, how are you doing? How are you doing today? Check in and tell me what you've been feeling. I'm talking about the courage to be an optimist. And why it takes courage. It takes courage because we might make statements about what we want and not get them. They might not come true the way we want them to. And our ego is afraid of that because it has to be right. Always has to be right. If it can't win, it's going to be right no matter what. And that doesn't serve anybody except the ego. It's sunny here in West Orange, New Jersey as well. I want to read a little bit today from Richard Rohr. I haven't read this, but I read it briefly, so bear with me. And it's Mysticism Precedes Politics. And again, I want to talk about what is a mystic and what is mysticism. Mysticism, and I'm a mystic. Everybody on here, I know you well, are mystics. And that mystic is just something we've gone from some kind of belief system and a sense of belonging to the understanding and the awareness that the mystery of life lives through us. We are simply conduits, if you will, of the mystery of life to live through us. That's what mystery is. It is the mystery of life. It's the mystery of the unknown, the willingness to put our own egoic needs aside and come from the heart about what we need to do and what we need to create in the world. Because when that mystical part of us, when Joy the wise woman, as I call her within me, speaks, it's coming from a different place than Martin Coward. And with a contemplative practice, we can learn to differentiate the difference between when Joy the Wise Woman is speaking and when Martin Coward is speaking. And usually it's around my why. What am I trying to get? If it's something bigger than me, if it transcends my own personal needs, it's probably coming from Joy the Wise Woman. Yeah, I'm feeling rested. I went to bed early last night. I'm grateful to be on my porch today. My porch is a sun porch, as you can see. I almost sit outside every day out here. And today I got all the windows open. Not all of them, got the windows open, and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for joining us today, Mindy, and everybody else. Mysticism precedes politics. The Reverend Wes Granberg Michelson, former head of the Reformed Church in America, reminds us that Jesus is the model of public virtue for all Christians. When deciding how we want to act in the public sphere, we are first called to begin with our personal experience of God's overflowing love for the world. Everything begins in mysticism and ends in politics. So wrote Charles Piguet in 1873 from 1914, a French poet and writer who lived in solidarity with workers and peasants and became deeply influenced by Catholic faith in the last years of his life. His provocative quote identifies the foundational starting point of how faith and politics should relate. Usually, however, we get it backward. Our temptation is to begin with politics and then try to figure out how religion can fit it in. We start with accepting parameters of political debate and whether we find ourselves on the left or the right. And we use religion to justify and bolster our existing commitments. But what if instead we make the inward journey our starting point? What if we recognize that our engagement in politics should be rooted in our participation in the Trinitarian flow of God's love? What if we start with love? What if we start with the love within ourselves, is basically what he's saying. The divine nature. What if we start with our divine nature and then enter into the conversation? Then everything changes. We're no longer guided or constrained by what we think is politically possible, but are compelled by what we know is most real. All at the heart of all creation, the mutual love within the Trinity overflows to embrace all life. All life. We are invited to participate in the transforming power of this love. There we discover the ground of our being, centering all our life and action. This was most fully revealed in Jesus as God's Son. His love for enemies, his nonviolent response to evil, his embrace of the marginalized, his condemnation of self-serving religious hypocrites, his compassion for the poor, his disregard for boundaries of social exclusion, his advocacy for economically oppressed, and his certainty that God's reign was breaking into the world all flowed into his complete mutual participation in the Father's love or the Mother's love. Jesus didn't merely show the way, he lived completely. He lived completely in the presence and power of God's redeeming and transforming life. This didn't fit in any conventional political alternative in Palestine at the time. Jesus wasn't a zealot seeking the violent overthrow of an impressive empire, although he welcomed a zealot as his disciple, resisted and undermined the authority of political rulers, and was crucified as King of the Jews. He refused to identify with religious authorities who are willing to compromise their spiritual convictions to foster their collusion with imperial political power. As we all know, that happened much later. Yet the politics of Jesus presented a clear agenda for radical social and economic transformation in his time as in ours. All of this was rooted, however, in the incarnate participation of Jesus in the love of the Trinity. I'm just going to call that, for everybody who's not so familiar with the Trinity, for the love of life, spirit, body, all of the life, universal Christ. He embodied what God's love intends for the world and demonstrated the Spirit's power to transform, heal, and make whole what is broken. His mysticism preceded and then accompanied his politics. His mysticism preceded and then accompanied his, and that's what I was talking about this morning. When our heart, when our love, when the joy of life within us precedes the political arena, and we enter the arena from that place of love and generosity and prosperity, everything changes. And we become disciples, we become warriors for transformation and change in the world, built out of unconditional love and prosperity. And that's an exciting way to live. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's a very good question. I'm glad that you're an optimistic about Biden. And what do you think about white America? I am white America. Um, I think white America, it's like, it's not white America or black America. There are Americans, I think, this is just my take. There are Americans who are living in fear and darkness. And that's that's everybody. That's on both sides of the aisle, by the way. That's not just Republicans or Democrats. And when I can look at my fellow Americans, brothers and sisters, and realize that they're living in some fear and uncertainty of the future, like a lot of us are. And if I can look at that and say, okay, I too have fear and uncertainty, but what's behind the fear and the uncertainty is love, is the light. And I really sincerely believe that if we can continue to shine our light and our compassion on those who have not yet found the light within themselves, they will. And that's how we're going to heal this country into one United States of America. That's it. It's people who are all colors and races and stripes, who are still stuck in their self-identification as a separate entity, as a separate human being that needs to take care of and protect that separate entity. They haven't come to the realization that we're all just one loving being. That is my view of that. And I think when we can shine the light on others and bring them into the light, then that's how we heal. And that's why I want Biden to be the president. I think from what he has to say, and I think from what I know about him, that's what he wants to do. He wants to he doesn't want to govern white America, black America, Republican America. He wants to lead this country into a better world. And I'm behind him. And I believe he'll do that. And what should you do to change the white American mind? Love them. Love them. What should you do to change any American mind, any human mind? You love them. Transformation happens through love, unconditional love. End of story. And then that transformation they will then wake up to the truth of who they are And they'll want, we all want love and peace and prosperity for everybody. And we fall and get up and fall and get up, and that is exactly what we do. We bounce off. That's what builds resistance. We need the shadow. We need the darkness to reflect off of us till we can expand and grow and evolve, for our souls to evolve. Again, when the ego weeps for what it has lost, the soul rejoices by what it has found. So when we fall, the ego is crying because it believes it's failed. It believes it's fallen. But the soul knows differently. It knows that you have grown, we have expanded, and we're more full, complete, loving beings. Good question, though. Anybody got anything else they want to add before we meditate? These are exciting times we live in. And I'm going to encourage everyone to put on an optimistic attitude. Think positive. Project positive. And when you have a negative thought or a negative feeling of fear, don't push it away. Accept it and inquire inside that fear what is true. I mean, I woke up the other morning thinking all those red people in the red states who voted for Trump, they don't like me. They don't care about me. They don't care about the world. They only care about, I made up this whole narcissistic story that was not painting a very good picture, but that's not true. When I began to look at it more closely, I said, maybe there's just fear like I have. And maybe behind that fear, they're a human being. There's a light of love there. And when I can see that and help them see that, we can make a difference. And I think that was the point of we read this morning about being a mystic. Let's wake up the whole world to our mystical nature. There are lots of mystics in the world right now. They don't even know they're mystics. They're just doing beautiful, wonderful things in the world to create a difference, to make a difference in the world. They might even be offended if you said they were a mystic because they don't know what it means. But they're doing mystical work. I say that. They're doing great mystical work. They're doing God's work, if you want. And you know the difference because you know how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel bad, it ain't coming from love. If it makes you feel good, it's coming from love. We are emotional human beings. Our feelings matter. So pay attention. Pay attention to how you're feeling right now. Let's meditate. Let's meditate. Got stuck under my chair. Okay. Set the insight timer. 20 minutes of meditation. Now, everybody, please do this. Please stick around for the meditation. Yes, how are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? Raise your arms in the air. I ask you to raise your arms. I want you to feel that what that life inside your hand. What's moving your hands? Yeah, you got muscles, but there's a life force within us that moves our hands and talks and listens that connects us. So I just want to bring our awareness to our hands and our bodies as we embody the spirit. You can put them in your lap now and get comfortable and sit up straight, proud. Sit up straight like a proud human being. Proud to be human. Proud to be love. And allow yourself to begin to soften the mind. to let go of all those beliefs, let go of all those opinions and judgments and stories you have about me, you have about yourself, you have about this election, you have about Trump, you have about Biden. Just let them all go. They're all stories. Just let them go for a moment. And thank your brain. Thank that wonderful instrument called the human brain that's working so hard to help us navigate through this world, particularly navigate through these challenging times. And allow yourself to let go of all that work for a few moments and fall back into love source energy. The only thing that's real is life itself in this moment. And make love your primary purpose right now. Let go of any thoughts about the past or the future and just be here right now. And open your heart a little further. Allow the sound of the bell and my voice to wake us up from any trance that our thoughts may have taken us into, any stories we have attached to, and let them go and fall more deeply into the divine love within ourselves. Allow the sound of the bell and my voice to wake us up from any thoughts and stories we may have found ourselves involved with. And just let them go and fall back into unconditional love. One last time, allow the sound of the bell and my voice to wake us up from thoughts, stories we may have found ourselves trapped in. And just let them go and fall back into love. And that's the final bell. How are you feeling? What did you learn about yourself in that stillness? Maybe you learned how hard it is to keep your mind still. Maybe you learned there's this one thought or one idea that you can't let go of. Maybe you're obsessing over something. It just kept coming up over and over and over again. What did you learn in that 20 minutes about yourself? Who are you? Why are you here? What can you do today to add value and make a contribution to the world for the betterment of others today and this afternoon? have you learned? What are you learning? What are you observing? My encouragement is to take out your journal and write exactly how you're feeling and ask yourself, what's true? What is true? And what is the vision of the world I want to live in? What are you doing? What are other people doing? How are we living? How are we relating to each other? How are you participating in creating a world grounded in love, joy, and prosperity? We're doing it together. We don't do it alone. There's a reason we're all here on the earth in this time moving forward. It's a good thing. Everything is perfect and beautiful and evolving exactly as it is. And if we can love and accept that in ourselves and each other, we have the possibility to create a whole new earth. And that's exciting. May love and prosperity prevail. Huh? I'm not alone. You are not alone. I am not alone. Thank you to everybody who joined us today, and I will see you tomorrow at noon. Again, may love and prosperity prevail.